Good evening, and one and all, and welcome to another edition of Cop Talk. That's right, only place to be on a Thursday night at 10 o'clock. If you want to hear the hottest gossip and the hottest news, it's not even gossip, we keep it real, man. It's factual, and some banter thrown in as well. So we're going to say good evening, Mr. Stoney. How are we doing, sir?
I'm fine, thanks very much, Artie. Just looking forward to this evening's show.
You were missed last week, man.
Oh, problem. I tried to tune in. It said I was there for the beginning, and I just tuned in with everybody else from afar. So back this week and just looking forward to everything that has taken place in the last week with Liverpool.
Okay. Did you manage to see the final squad then?
No,
squad?
Not right at the end. So tell me who was the final striker and who was the manager.
The final piece to the puzzle. We had. Who did we pick last week? We picked.
Was it
the manager was Shankly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Manager was Shankly. Graham Souness was picked as captain.
Okay.
And I can't find my bit of paper where I had it written down.
It was Dalglish and Suarez, right?
That's it. Dalglish and Suarez.
Okay.
That's it. Yeah, Dalglish and Suarez. Yeah. So it's a serious team,
Yeah.
It is a serious team, I must say. Even though up front there could have been a number of players like Ian Rush could have been in there.
Fowler,
Torres. You know what I mean? Yeah, man. It's still a serious team, man. Imagine if that's your team and you got them a lot on the bench.
Wow.
It's peak.
Yeah,
it's peak. Okay. Ross, how we doing, my brother?
I'm well, man. I'm well. We've the week's been an interesting one. It started with me going online and posting biblical scriptures from the 10 Commandments because I thought we were signing Moses or Moises, but I'm calling him Moses anyway. I'm posting up on my thing, thou shalt not take next man's woman and all these kind of things. Thou shalt not, whatnot.
Yes.
I mean, like, it got so bad. I'm there finding pictures of Charlton Heston playing Moses from the 10 Commandments film.
My
I was
gosh.
fully on board. Yeah. I said to myself, listen, don't get caught up. And I did it. Yeah, I got fully gassed. And then I was heartbroken. It was so bad. Like, I got a group on WhatsApp with like my day one brethren. Like, I had to just leave it. I was like, lads, I'll be back tomorrow, innit? Like, the heartbreak was too much. So yeah. But it's ending well because I'm liking Endo. So yeah. Certainly a roller coaster.
Okay. Good evening, Mr. R&B.
Good evening.
On tour. That's why he hasn't been with us. He's been on tour.
Well, I'm actually in like Spain as we speak.
Oh, you see,
nice.
The tour's still going.
So let me apologize.
No problem. Good. Nice of you to join us, brother. Nice of you to join us, man. Hola.
Cool. Thank you.
No problem.
Is that another player we've been is that another player we're going to sign? Central midfielder.
Don't let Chelsea hear about it, mate. Bloody hell, I tell you. So gentlemen. First and foremost, then let's get. What's your take on this saga now? Moise Caicedo, man, and Lavia. Come on, what's your take on this saga? What's really happening here?
I think it's quite interesting in a sense that with both players, I think originally Lavia was the player that we were linked in, where the fee wasn't as high as Caicedo. And to my knowledge, just correct me as well, I think initially, wasn't it Arsenal that were in for Caicedo? At that time? Yeah. So at that time,
I think that was last season.
Right. So and that was before he signed a new contract, wasn't it? With Brighton. So at that stage, to my knowledge, Liverpool weren't even in the fold. Fast forward this season, purchased 2 midfielders, still looking for more midfielders. So when Caicedo and Lavia came up, at the price even for 45, considering what we actually played for Dominic and what we played for McAllister, okay, £45 million A player that's obviously shown that he can play effectively in that position as well. Don't know Liverpool's books. For 45, okay, that's a money shot. Considering what was mentioned previously about the lack of funds Liverpool would have had. So I thought 45 million pounds, that's a steal. We're definitely in for the fold. Didn't go with him for 45 million pounds, scratching my head. But then I'm obviously thinking then we're possibly still going to go in for Kone and Thuram, even though I know there was mixed fortunes after the under 21 Euros. Kept thinking we're definitely going into Lavia. Speculation, not happening. Chelsea into the mold. Then for me, all of a sudden, Casado pops out of the blue. And then we've got more money. All of a sudden now, we didn't have enough money to purchase Lavia at 45, but now Casado's 100 plus. And I'm thinking, this is definitely not Liverpool in real life. It's definitely not Liverpool in real life. I got drawn in. Didn't want to really comment, but I'm thinking, well, if we come in and the volumes that we're saying, then it's perfect. And I think even at that stage, from the conferences that Klopp had been making, it appeared that Klopp thought that deal was signed and sealed as well, with the 110 mil or whatever it was. But to be gazumped at the last minute by Chelsea, one doesn't surprise me. And it's not because we're not a big club. It's just that the amount of money that Chelsea's obviously got on the basketball contracts that they're giving them with the 8 and 9 and 10 and 20-year deals. But to be picked by both, for both players, disheartening. It just makes me question what the gentleman Jorgs that was at Wolfsburg, what his real role is being there. I understand we're meant to be in for a series of players, but to my knowledge, is it just 2 players he's bought in? I know he's there in a short-term period. It's just been 2 players that he's actually bought in. 1. Okay. All right. So, yeah, disheartening. Just definitely disheartening at the moment.
Okay. So, Dr. Blake, I know you was fully invested. As you said, man was quoting scriptures and all sorts.
Yeah. I was back in church. Do you know what? I think almost like my worst fears have come true in the last few weeks, and I think we have to acknowledge that at one point in time we were a world-class operation off the pitch. The big issue was obviously the finances and FSG not using, I guess, any of their personal wealth, but the money that we did have, we spent perfectly. Where I guess we've now got a very different setup where the brains of the club, they've left. We had that is it Ian Graham, the scientist who was involved in one of those rockets that's gone into Mars. He's gone. Obviously Edwards is gone. Ward was meant to have it for long term. He's gone. And then it seems now, unfortunately, in my opinion, Jurgen Klopp has become way too powerful. And it seems the club is now working to service him. It's almost like he's become basically like the actual manager. And whereas before we had a transfer committee who would be using data, science, stats to inform our recruitment, but also our retention, it seems now we've almost become like an old school man, Klopp's become like an old school British manager, and the scouts give him players. He chooses what he likes, and then I guess what we're now seeing is basically Klopp's creation. So, by all accounts, Chelsea started chatting to Caicedo from apparently May. They had like verbally agreed a deal. We appoint Schmatka on the 1st of June. So how on earth can we be like, how can he have a hope of signing players where the players who he's then going for last minute have been like that deal's been agreed even prior to him even being hired? The whole thing's a mess. How can you have a long-term strategic role and then you're giving someone a 3-month contract? We've got a major rebuild of the Klopp era happening, and we've got a short-term director of football or sporting director. So clearly his role is different towards an Edwards, and it seems basically his role is to basically negotiate the deals that Klopp's told him to do. Now, what we're now seeing from Liverpool, unfortunately, is we're almost moving like Manchester United. We've got money and no sense in that we're spending money appallingly, in a sense that everyone, like no one knew how much money like we actually had. We've now shown our hand in a way that's like embarrassed us, because to try and like, it's almost like you have to know what role you've got. If you're gonna try and put down big money to break the British transfer record, then you've got to be like prepared to then match the counter offer. So if Chelsea come back and say, okay, cool, we're going to give the agent 5 more million, or we'll give you 100 grand more on wages, like if that's your mindset, then you got to like see it through. But we still want to do this half data, half science approach, half spending money, but that we don't have. And I just think the whole thing's a mess. So what needs to happen is Klopp needs to get put back in his box. You are a world-class coach. FSG needs to reinstall the transfer committee, get a strong sporting director, and hopefully from September, the off-the-field antics will begin to improve, because this is just not good.
So Brees, Dr. Blake, I'm telling you, come on. That was deep, man. It was very deep. Very deep. So Brees.
You know what, Doctor? I was in your tribe. I believed you when you said the Hendo thing was a smokescreen. I believed you. And then when that happened, my heart sunk. And you know, but you know, listen, we knew this was coming. The season when we won the Premier League, and then when Van Dijk and Matip and Gomez got injured, who did we bring in as replacements? So, you know, literally, this was literally bound to happen. I do agree that Klopp, I believe, has too much power, and I think he's trying to instill some sort of loyalty towards his players, which I do commend. But in this day and age, if you're not good enough, you have to move on. How I'm seeing it is money talks. Footballers, especially in this day and age, want to now secure legacy money. And if Liverpool, you know, as we see now, cannot match the financial ambitions of players, for me, they don't even care about who's at the helm. In terms of Caicedo and Lavia, I understand why they've gone to Chelsea. I would also look at the kind of journey of Klopp now. Klopp's been at Liverpool for close to a decade. How long is he going to be there now? At Chelsea, there's Pochettino. There's a new project there. I would want to go to a place where you would have a manager like Poch who kind of brings in and actually improves young players. I'm not saying Klopp doesn't, but I can't see Klopp being at Liverpool for another 2-3 years, and that's just my own personal opinion, especially in terms of what Doctor said in terms of
oops, that's that. All our broadband.
And you say, boy, man's frozen in a dread pose as well, boy. Yeah. like this spider on the wall or something.
Broadband and a gringo. Not working, bro. Better go and put some pesetas in the meter, mate. Okay, Preds, welcome on board, sir.
Good evening, gentlemen. Thank you very much.
It's
Good evening to everybody.
It's all right, mate. It's all right.
It's all right. Thank you very much. Sorry
all
for
right,
my.
Be all right in the
sorry
night.
for the
I do want to
task.
say good evening to Motaz Mohammed, talking about Let's Sell Crybaby Seller. Good evening to VW. Couldn't be with us tonight, but he's with us on. See that? I like that, man. He couldn't be with us tonight, but he's still in the chat. I love that. And good evening to Mr. Fitzroy and Brighton. Good evening to you, sir. So, Tabrice, you back with us, yeah?
Yeah, I don't know exactly what you guys heard, but no, it's I'm going to be very interested in the next couple of weeks in terms of who we now try and bring in.
Okay, Prince. So at this point, we are talking about the debacle that is Caicedo and Lavia. What is your take on it?
Deep down, if we really wanted the players, we had the money to go and get them. I've got to be honest. I think they've just gone purely for the money. Like, if they're going to go to Chelsea for the money, fair play to them. That's all right. If they didn't have an inkling of coming to Liverpool, it is what it is. Now it's done and dusted. Let's move on from that and let's try and concentrate on what the targets that they are going to get. And I know that they're not everyone's flavour of the month, but look, these are two young players who had the opportunity to come to Liverpool. They've chosen Chelsea for whatever reason. Let them go with it.
Okay. Well, Tabri seems to think that it's not just about the money. He thinks it's about the new, fresh project that Chelsea are building. And obviously Klopp's been there going on 8 years now. So he thinks he's getting a bit stale. He's not going to be there much longer. Chelsea is a brand new thing with Pochettino or whatever. You know.
Yeah, but everyone knows.
It's looking rosy.
Yeah, but everyone knows Chelsea. If it doesn't look rosy for the first season, right, Poch will be out and someone will be back in again. Everyone knows that.
Yeah, like, but I'll be honest with you. For me, Poch is a good manager.
No, I'm not saying
he's not going to. He's not for me. He's not going to do like them other guys. He's not going to. Chelsea. I was telling my cousin the other day. He's a Chelsea supporter. I was telling him the other day. You lot will now be a lot better organized, and you will have an identity of the way that you play now that you've got Pochettino, which will be
but they said that. Yeah, but they said that with Conte. They said that with Conte. They said that with
Conte.
They said that with Jose Mourinho.
Dead football.
It's dead football, but whether it's dead football or not, it's a philosophy of a football. And the manager's gone in. Yeah, but the manager's gone in there and he's delivered the football. You try and tell me that Conte at that time his stock wasn't high. Everyone's stock high going to go to Chelsea, but there is a pattern occurring where they spend money, they don't get results, and then it's all changed. They took Potter, who done exceptionally well at Brighton. All right, brought over a whole entourage. Gave him a 5-year contract and said, "Here you go. Here's a project." So this is the second project. Then
he bought players like Cucurella. He deserved to get sacked. He's
like 60 M.
Box on the way out the door.
Yeah,
so 60 million.
End of the day, it's just end of the day.
60 million.
Yeah, like Chelsea. Let Chelsea crack on what they're doing because for whatever reason, Caicedo and Levia they didn't want to come, and furthermore. If Liverpool really wanted them, they knew what the price was. It was 50 mil. You know what I mean? Whether there was back channels and obviously Liverpool felt that, whether he wanted to go to Chelsea or not. I just felt, look, Liverpool's got the money. If Liverpool really wanted him, they would have went out and fucking got him.
But I still feel that Lavia is feeling hurt that Liverpool were after him, didn't put up the full money that they was wanting, playing silly buggers, and going back with bids, you need another 2 million here with some add-ons, another 2 million here with some add-ons. And then all of a sudden now, you turn around and be offering 110 million for this next guy. So this next guy decides, turns you down and goes elsewhere. And then you want to come back to me.
I agree with you, bro.
I ain't no scrub, bro.
I know, but the thing is...
This is football, by the way. This is football, by the way. And if at the end of the day, if somebody says, if a football team is interested in you and then they go to someone else, then fine. But if you're going to take it personal in relation to, right, Lavia's just going to sit on the bench for however, if that's how he wants to go, then I don't want him at Liverpool Football Club.
I don't know.
If that's his character, why would we want a character like that in football? Where he gets the yam and where he gets the yam.
Personally, that's what we was talking about before we came on, right? We said that you know what? He's not going to get the game time that he would get at Liverpool. But at the same time, you still feel disrespected, bro.
Yeah.
You can't tell me, right? You wanted 50 million. They said, my club asked for 50 million. And you're playing silly buggers, 45, 47, 40 this and add-ons. Then you go and offer 110 million for another man.
Mate, listen, Lavia
and then you want to come back to check me.
Lavia shouldn't be a player who should be disrespected, feel disrespected. He should feel humble, the fact that he's in a Premiership side. He played for Southampton. He's got his exposure. He's 19 years old. I don't know the kid, right? But what I'm saying to you is, if that's his character, then you know what? I'd rather be without it. Because if you're going to get over that, who are you? Hold on. Who are you? Who is Lavia, by the way? If he gets disrespected, he gets disrespected. Crack on. He's a 19-year-old kid who's had one season in the Premiership. If he wants to get all high and mighty, because he's had one season in the Premiership. We don't want him.
Mm.
Let him sit at Chelsea. Let him get his splinters, right? And let him pick up his money. Fair play. Crack on. I wish them all the best. He's no longer a thought for me in regards to Liverpool Football Club. It's about moving on. They don't exist. Like, they play for Chelsea now. Let's move on. Like, for whatever reason they've done it. They've done it.
I mean, I think we all know why. Again, it's about the money. Let's be absolutely real. I think, I actually think players now know their worth, and literally they are not gonna get shortchanged or literally blindsided because it's Liverpool, because it's United, because it's Chelsea. They know their worth now. So, if he kind of felt disrespected in terms of how Liverpool treated him, then fair enough. Because, like, think about it. We are acting how Arsenal were 5-6 years ago, or even kind of putting in silly bids like 40 million and £1 for Suarez. Like, if literally, if like Arsenal was serious about Suarez at the time, they really could have got him.
And
so literally, we are kind of acting like no, but literally, we are kind of acting like that. So I think players now know their worth. And if Lavia was available, I would still welcome him to like Liverpool, because we right now need a player like that. I do agree in terms of, like, we should crack on now because he is now wearing like a blue shirt. But we have to also look at ourselves and think, what is kind of going on behind closed doors? Exactly what Doctor said. Like, there's a rat there that, what I'm saying, like, someone's like done a big dollop of poo.
Yeah, but
and
that's
like
what I'm
no
saying.
one can
But that's
find
what I'm saying though. But that's what I'm saying though. Like people are not seeing the detail. If Liverpool Football Club really wanted Lavia, they would have went out and got him. It's like we wanted Szoboszlai. We wanted Szoboszlai, regardless of the release clause. There you go, boom. We wanted McAllister, Mac 10, regardless of the release clause. We got him. In regards to Fabinho,
was cheaper, but it's 35 mil.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, if Liverpool Football Club really wanted them, they would have went all out for him. We didn't go all out for Lavia. We didn't go out for it. Come on, think about it. Think deeply about it. We didn't.
He's right. Fred is right. But I think, again, it comes down to the slickness behind the scenes and the lack and the chaos. And what's that saying about fail to plan is a plan to fail, or whatever it is, or that phrase? And I think what becomes abundantly clear is there was no succession for Fabinho and Hendo at all. And it seems like those signings have caught the club literally, like they've been surprised by that. So what you need to think to yourself is, if Michael Edwards is still in post, he'd be trying to sell both of them about 2 years ago, regardless, because we saw last season both of their metrics fell off a cliff. So why you'd want to keep both of them on these massive contracts is crazy anyway. But the second point is, Lavia clearly was meant to be the Fabinho understudy. Because I always say, and I've said this, for me, it makes sense. If you think a 19-year-old is good enough to be your starting midfielder, then you don't haggle over £3 million. Like, you just do the deal. So clearly he was meant to be backup, and that's fine because he's 19. He's played like 2,000 minutes. Like, he's not physically ready yet. Incredible talent. So obviously we want him to do other things. So I do understand why we were a bit slow with that. But then I just think equally, the season started. He's having to miss games for Southampton. He wants his future, sorted. So this 1 million more, 1.5 million more, like, he wants the club to be decisive. Show me that you want me. And I just think, we just haven't been able to do that. But it is what it is. It is what it is.
Okay, so VW says the Caicedo saga is the most embarrassing transfer situation in his 39 years of following LFC. Fitzwarren John Brighton says we need to get that young Brazilian. He's talking about Andre, I believe.
Yeah. He's playing on Saturday. Next game's on Saturday.
That's right. How are Chelsea going to keep all that squad happy? The next thing we're talking about. A lot of people sitting on the bench. Chelsea got an owner who's splashing more cash than Roman, but doing it in a very strategic way with the long-term deals. This is what I was listening to Simon Jordan, and this is what he was explaining why Chelsea won't get done for the financial fair play because of how they're doing it with the deals, plus the sales that they've made. Plus, because it's a long-term contract, the money carries over for seasons after season. You haven't just spent this money in this season as far as it's concerned. And they've sold a bag of players that they've made like 200 and something million. So they won't be getting done for financial fair play, basically. That's what you say, as it works. The Lavia saga was our own doing, arguing over 4 million. Okay.
Yeah.
So let's talk about some people who we are back interested in now. And the first one is, well, I don't know if any of you know about him, but I definitely don't. What's it? Wataru Endo?
Yeah, from Stuttgart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. What can you tell me about this player then?
Is, you know what I think the thing with this, even if this Wataru was on Liverpool's agenda, so this was a player that Liverpool probably would have been scouting, whether he was our ECDEFG player XYZ, right? Our profile of players over the last probably 3 or 4 seasons have been players that have possibly ranged, because of who we purchased. We purchased Calvin Ramsey. I know he's injured again at Preston, isn't he? He's got that. He's out again, right? So our profile of players have probably been between probably 21 to probably about 25, 26. Carvalho, right? And obviously we bought in Luis Diaz, Darwin Núñez. So let's just say that our profile of players have probably been between probably 19 up to about 25. This current player here, he's 30. So I'm not saying that I know a lot of information about this player, how he plays. Obviously, I'm hearing more that we're being linked to him. If it is something we're being linked to, it is probably about 10 mil or something like that. But he's 30. Is this then a stopgap?
Yeah, this is what Preds has said. It's a stopgap.
This is clear. This is, for me, this is clearly a stopgap then. So are we then? Is he then going to get us to the end of this season? Are there other midfielders that we're going to be looking at? My concern is,
we are going to come into another one, Stoney.
My concern here is that this player is probably either the C, D, or E or F player. And for me, it's probably a stopgap. Going back to then what you guys had mentioned before, if it was Lavia or somebody younger, that could be more part of a medium or long-term project. But I just see this player, as amazing as he is, and I've been told through different forums and everything in the last few days how he'd fit the bill for Liverpool. We'll see. I'm not going to question his ability. I'm not going to question our reasons for purchasing him. I'll see, and I'll just hope that he can embrace the challenge of playing for Liverpool.
Okay, so Preds, you seem to know about him as well.
I'm one of those, mate. Whatever football's on TV, I watch, and I do watch a lot of Bundesliga. And he's a grafter. He's a worker. He done really, really well for Stuttgart. He's, even though Stuttgart is not one of the main teams within the Bundesliga, I think he's really, really good. And I think people will be surprised that he is a live wire. He goes and closes people down. He intercepts as well, but he's also got a technical ability as well, finding players, long range, short range, scoring goals if he need be. So I'm actually not disappointed with this. Like, I think people are getting a little bit too hyped up with, yeah, we can spend 110 million. Well, 110 million pound player doesn't guarantee success. Neither does a 16 million pound player. But with regards to him, he's 30 years old. He's been in the Bundesliga for a significant time. He is actually a cult hero there. He's actually Japan's. He's Japan's.
Scored a goal that helped keep him up.
Yeah, he's Japan's captain. So we're not. So I know we're saying he's 30 years old, but listen, football's changed now, where 30-year-olds can keep going like they're 28, 20, 27, 28. They are, they can go on a little bit longer. If it is a stopgap, I don't mind it. I honestly don't mind it, because I think he's actually he's one of those who does the dirty work. People don't see it. Like Fabinho does the dirty work. You don't see it, but he's effective for the team. And I think that's what type of signing he is. He's one of those you can put him in, and hopefully he could be effective for the team. He's actually a Klopp. He he actually he's a Klopp player in regards to the way we style, in the style we play, in regards to high tempo, closing down. Like he kind of fits into that philosophy a little bit. So me personally, I'm actually quite happy with this if it happens. Touch cross fingers. If it actually goes through, I'll be quite happy.
Doctor.
Yeah, like Preds, yeah, I think this is actually quite a shrewd signing. And I'm glad to see that we are scouting the market again. Yes, typically he's the wrong age profile, but I think realistically he's probably got 3 years left at this standard. Probably takes on James Milner's role in the squad as being that like experience lead. You can see out games, play a few different positions. Obviously, he can play 6, centre back. Maybe Klopp might even try have him as cover for Trent to kind of like invert into the midfield. I actually think he's a really good player. I think I've probably tuned onto him more through following Japan. I just think they play very good football, and I think that part of the footballing world has been under-resourced.
They're very technical,
and yeah, like I'm seeing with Matoma at Brighton that there's some serious ballers over there. So yeah, I think it's a good signing. I think I would like to believe we're gonna probably sign one more CDM, but I think if he's gonna be like in there, his stats are actually very similar to Manu Kone's, other than his sprint speed's not quite as quick, but he's still quick. But aerially, he's a lot more dominant, and his injury record's impeccable. I think he's had about 4 injuries in the last 5 years, and I think 2 of that was COVID. So yeah, tactically very good. He can dribble with the ball. He can carry it. He's dynamic. He's I'm pleased with this. Happy.
Okay. Chris Wells, good evening. Yo, don't make them jokes, bro. Seriously, Chris, the Chelsea set to hijack the Endo deal. Listen, bro.
I wouldn't put it past them, bruv.
No, I'm telling you, serious. Across the pond, good evening and welcome on board. Maybe Liverpool should say they want Sambi, and Chelsea could offer us a big load of dollars for him. Oh boy, I tell you. I think what was it now? We've also been talking about Chris says sensible signing, need another DM and left-footed centre back. Yeah, I think it's a shrewd signing. I was also heard there was a tweet put out by young Jan Argofiotov. He's on Empire of the Cop, and he's talking about Endo, and he's saying he's a lot shrewder signing than what people really know. So actually, this could be a very, very, very smart signing by Klopp. Obviously, financial wise, and what you're going to get for your money, basically. So he's putting it down as it could be a very, very good signing. The other one that we're being linked to now as well is Sofian Amrabat.
Yeah. Is that who Man United were being linked with?
Yes, as well. Yes, we're both interested in him. Yeah.
I just remember him. What was it? Was it the World Cup?
The World Cup
when Mbappe went on that long ass sprint, and all you could see is Amrabat head back, and he was just like that. and he got the ball.
Yeah, see it there. I like that. He tried that.
Oh, mate, brilliant! It was one of the moments of the World Cup.
But so Sofian Amrabat, will you be happy with that?
That's close. That's closer to the age profile, then, isn't it? Closer to the age profile I was saying before, probably for the 26-year-old as well. I think football in terms of players globally is massive. Why are we still being linked with players that other clubs are being linked with as well? I thought that was near enough like a done deal for Man United there as well for Amrabat. I don't know. I just need to get something out of my head where I'm thinking we don't need to be linked with these players at all. What is it? There's a small all of the scouts go out and look at the same group of players, and then everybody then tries to battle it out for this player.
No,
That's
I
I think
it
that's
is, though? I
that's
think
the
word,
other
I think
side
the
that
word
kind of
is,
frustrates me as well, man.
Sorry, Stody. You know what I think, though? The word is, what happens why a lot of teams seem to be linked with the same players is that it's aware that these players want to move. And they're known to be decent players. So that's why you'll find that scouts will be checking them out, making sure. And obviously, if they're getting good reports about them, then this is why the clubs are being looking at them. It's not just like, oh, we just happen to be looking at this player. It's aware that it's prominent they want to move.
And the agents.
Yeah, the agents as well. Of
Trying
course.
to make a quick buck.
100%. Can't leave them out.
Yeah. So, yeah, I don't know. Well, look, as he said, he's a central midfielder. We definitely need another central midfielder, but I think he plays more the eights, doesn't he? I don't think he's a six. We took, to my knowledge, I think Liverpool need a six at the moment. And the only player that's currently there that can possibly play it, Curtis Jones is in the mold, and McAllister played it against Chelsea.
I don't really see Curtis Jones as a six, though.
No, but that's what I'm saying. There's nobody else, to my knowledge, out of our midfield, and we're being realistic. Stefan's still injured. Thiago can't play it, and that's what I said. Stefan, but he's still injured. Thiago can't play it. So at the moment, we do not have a number six. We do have various midfielders who can probably play eights and various roles in and around for us. But in the current system we're playing, I think we're quite thin there, in my opinion.
Quite thin.
Amrabat doesn't really play. Amrabat doesn't play the six unless Klopp's going to make an adaptation once again about the system and the tactics that he's asking us to play. That'll be quite interesting. But reservations about him, just because it's clear on what we need that particular player, and it's not there.
Okay, so Chris says one Endo went, another Endo came. Yeah.
Actually, that's another point I was going to say. In that, Endo doesn't block Bajicic's developmental path into the team as well, because in theory, if we sign two players now, let's say we were to do what Chelsea have done and sign Lavia and Caicedo, both two young guys, what does that then mean for Steph?
Exactly.
Whereas I feel we're with Endo, then like in 18 months' time, 2 years' time, then that path into the team's there for him. Like it might be his backup at first, but yeah, I like that one. With Amrabat, I just haven't seen enough of him. He was certainly inspired in the World Cup, and if he was on second choice, I'd be pretty happy with that. But I feel like what we get from him now is probably his best level. And yeah, he's busy, he makes tackles, he tries to hit some long passes, but I think sometimes his stats are inflated a little bit because he tries to do things that he shouldn't really be doing. But obviously, he's at Fiorentina where the actual level isn't as high, so he's got more scope to kind of play the game freely, so to speak. But I wouldn't say no to him, but I probably would want somebody to be the first choice who's got a higher ceiling and a bit more potential. So yeah, I probably would have gone either Amrabat or Endo. I wouldn't want both of them.
Okay, well, looking at we might be interested in both because of the money that's involved. We might be getting both numbers. Brighton have said 50 million for Milner if we want him back. Bloody hell, Chris, where do you get these, man? I tell you, should have your own show.
Yeah. I think Amrabat.
Have you seen Amrabat? Fiorentina, he a ball winner, destroyer. He's a midfield man. I think he's disagreeing with you, Stoney, about what you said there about him not being able to play that sixth position.
That's fine. I don't, and that is the beauty of this show.
Mm-hmm. And Endo can play many spots for sure. That's good. We should have added another 15 million to let Chelsea overspend. Makes no difference to them, mate. Makes no difference whatsoever. Anyway, so let's just hopefully that we get at least one of them in before the weekend. I would ideally like 2 players in, but let's see if we can get one by the weekend.
I'll tell you, I would love to see And I know it probably doesn't fit into the demographic of the age range and everything like that, but I think it's a no-brainer. Just go for Palhinha.
There's been talk about that as well, that he's another one that
Yeah,
could be on the list.
I mean, he's just turned 28. I think he's just turned 28. He's played in the Premiership. He can hit the ground running straight away. I don't think he so much he blocks the development of other players. In actual fact, I think he probably enhances it. And I just feel like if they're saying about 60 million, then I would be happy to pay 60 million for Palhinha instead of 60 million for Lavia. I'll be honest.
Yeah.
Even though isn't he had just one season in the Prem?
Who's that?
Paulinho.
Yeah, but what a season it was.
Mm.
And I got what a season it was. He played for Fulham. I think he was one of the mainstays of Fulham, and you know what he delivered whenever I've seen him play. He's done really well, and
yeah.
I think
And what did he
he's
cost?
got that maturity.
About 20 million.
Yeah, exactly.
And this goes part to the issue I'm saying about Klopp. It was almost like in Klopp's mind, I want Tuchemani or nothing. Whereas I'm sure the scouts would have been like, we've got other options, Jurgen. Like, we've got other options. So you've got Paulinho, who's going from Sporting, where they've been in the Champions League, and he's gone for £20 million. You've got Decore, who I know that we were scouting, who's cost £20 million. Now we're into him again, that might cost 60, 65. So what we need is for Jurgen to listen to the scouts and take these guys before we then have to buy them a year after for ridiculously
for double the amount.
That's why we better get that Andre now.
Yeah.
Because next season he'll be 70 mil.
Yeah.
Okay, gentlemen, let's now talk about weekend gone's game. Another draw against the Chavs. I don't know what it is with these boys, man. Seriously, you just seem to be drawing with them too much times. So first and foremost, was that the lineups that you would have predicted to start that game?
No.
Is that for Liverpool? Oh, for Liverpool,
of course. Yeah, of course.
I think for me that would have been as close as I thought. I think the only thing that I was a little bit taken back by, and we've seen him play in that position, was Gakpo playing. So he played on the left side of the midfield, didn't he? Yeah, I think that was probably the only position that I was a little bit taken back, because at sometimes thinking, what we're going to do, revert and play like a 4-2-4 type formation. But Gakpo's obviously demonstrated even through last season that when we purchased him, he's actually quite adaptable in playing. So we've obviously seen him play where Bobby's played, left side forward, and obviously in midfield. And in fairness, he can kind of look after himself in there as well. So I think in terms of Liverpool, yeah, I wasn't really surprised. I think do you know, in the game, so I'm going to say, so it was Ibrahima and Van Dijk that played centre back. Yeah. In this game as well, Van Dijk played predominantly on the right hand side, instead of the left. On this game, it's usually the other way around. Van Dijk usually occupies over the left hand side, closer to Robbo. So in terms of a tactical change, I don't know what that was to do with, if anybody else picked that up, but that was quite interesting as well. But yeah, starting lineup was what I thought it would have been, apart from Gakpo. Okay,
Doctor.
Yeah, I noticed the Van Dijk thing. I think that was just us being defensively dysfunctional more than anything else, and just having to cover spaces that they weren't meant to be in. I guess just on the starting lineup, I was a little bit surprised. Firstly, I would have started Curtis in midfield. I just think he's got the physicality, he's got the confidence.
You'd have started him instead of Gakpo.
Yeah, Gakpo wouldn't have played in midfield for me against Chelsea. Not in that midfield. If we had a powerful DM, I may have been a bit more tempted into it. But against Chelsea with that midfield, I would have played Curtis instead of him all day. Gakpo is very good tactically, and I think he's one of these guys who will do what the manager says. He will get into the certain areas. He will press. He will follow the tactical instructions. But I guess his execution of that is going to be limited. So there was that that challenge on Sterling, or that non-challenge on Sterling, just like brushed him off, and he's running down the touchline into the box. And I just don't think defensively he's good enough for us to play him in that type of game, in that type of midfield setup. I personally would have gone with Gakpo through the middle. That probably for me was the hardest thing for Klopp to pick, because obviously he's got so many options up front. I just think with Thiago Silva at this stage of his career, it's going to be unlikely that Chelsea are going to want to be leaving too many spaces behind the main two centre backs centrally. So for me, Gakpo pulling off them, doing that more false nine to let Salah and Diaz then kind of get into those half spaces, for me that would have been the way. And then definitely it's going to help with our ball retention as well. So yeah, I would have gone Gakpo over Jota, and then I would have gone Curtis in midfield.
Okay. Preds?
Doc just took the words right out of my mouth, to be quite honest. Let Curtis play. To be fair, I don't even want to. There's nothing to add on to what Doc just said. Everything he said, I agree with.
All right, cool.
That was the actual sub as well, Doc, in the second half as well. When Gakpo came off, it was actually for Curtis Jones as well.
Mm-hmm.
On that thing as well. So that was interesting.
Yeah. I think on the subject of the tactical issue with VVD coming over, I think you're now starting to see the confidence of VVD coming back slowly, but coming back, because where Ibrahim's gone, he covers Trent's side, more side. So Jackson, was it Jackson? Is it Jackson?
Yeah, Jackson played up front.
Yeah, Jackson played up front. He then predominantly played centrally, and whenever he made any runs, VVD looked like the VVD of old, where he just glided. And there was a couple of occasions where he was one-on-one, and he dealt with it effectively. And I think you're starting to see the confidence of him coming back. I don't think it's so much. And I don't think it's so much of a dysfunctional thing. I think now they kind of know their responsibility and their roles in this new setup, and it is going to be a bit risky. And it's going to be a few moments where it's going to be a bit scary. But that's how Jurgen plays. He plays on the front foot. Yeah, I mean, we play on the front foot. We don't sit back. Liverpool don't do well sitting back. We're on the front foot. We go and probe. And if you look at it, Chelsea was looking to hit us on the counter attack on a few occasions. But in all fairness, Chelsea tactically, second half, were on top.
Yeah.
Which then maybe the game we lost the control of the game too much before Curtis Jones actually came on. You know what I mean? It didn't
Across the pond says Gakpo centre mid. I don't know about that. Good evening, Mr. B. Our very own one from the Man United agenda. Nice to have you on board, sir. See you lot still teeth in wins as usual. Nothing don't change here.
How?
Man could be up in court on Monday morning, bro. For Tuesday morning. But not even grievous, but the actual bodily harm. You know what I mean? But yeah, it's typical.
I don't know how Liverpool didn't get a penalty.
Luis Diaz, good to see him boarding again. Yep, very true. That's right. Hit those likes, that share, and that subscribe, peoples. Do not forget. Fitzroy said, "Yep, I expected to see Nunes instead of Jota." Chris says, "I was shocked Gakpo started in midfield and shocked that Jota started, to be honest." Liverpool were robbed, end of, with the Chelsea ref. Yes, Gomez.
That's not natural.
Yeah, I know.
That's not natural. That's not natural.
Thank you. But you know how they try to term it. His hands were close to his body.
What's his hands doing up there?
But what's your hands doing up here, close to your body, bro? Yeah, listen, my hand is still close to my body. Is that natural?
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
Come on, man.
It's true, bro.
This is what I'm saying. I don't understand. What's all the point in having VAR and all this? It makes no sense. if
Makes
you're
no
still going to
sense.
be doing that crap? I mean, you might as well just go. You might as well just get rid of it then. Doesn't make no sense at all.
Don't get it, because if he would have jumped, and we use our arms to elevate to get up. So if he jumped, okay, but he didn't jump. He was like that, and actually the ball's on target. It's beggars belief.
I think just going back to one of the, I guess, points from the starting lineup. I know someone mentioned about Darwin starting over Jota. I think the issue you get with that is Darwin just can't press yet. He works hard, he runs around, but Jota off the ball is very strong. Although on the ball, his game is so inconsistent. Like you could say limited. Like there was that, we had a gilt-edged chance where all we had to do was just play a nice ball in for Diaz, and Diaz is coming through the angle. They've been a shot on goal, but Jota kind of like he overhits the pass. But I guess one of our key tactics was to win the ball high up the pitch, and we did that. And I think, Jota's pressing off the ball is very good, whereas Nunes still hasn't got there yet. So I can see why Klopp didn't go with Nunes, especially if he wants to have that kind of high press tactic.
And you know what, you're right about that as well. I mean, Klopp may not have known what the starting lineup from Chelsea would have been anyway, but you're right, because Chelsea almost played a box there in the midfield with who did they have in there? Gallagher, Enzo, and they had Sterling and Chukwuemeka in it.
Yeah.
They almost played at that box. So you're right.
Up front by himself.
Yeah, if Darwin Nunes had played any stretch, as you were saying, to actually advance and play more towards Silva, I think we would have had too much of an opening in midfield, whereas Jota can actually drop off sometimes. So, but yeah.
If you realise that box is starting to be created a lot more, it's starting to be used a lot more in the Premiership at the moment. That box in the midfield, quite a few teams are using it. Even Liverpool are using that box. If you see it, Trent goes inside, Mac 10's there, and then Szoboszlai either comes from the right and then comes in, and then you had Gakpo doing the same thing. It was almost that rotation. So that box kind of, you're going to see it a lot more.
We had better of the first 30 minutes, I'd say, on top. Should have gone 2 up, but we didn't. And then Chelsea had the better of the second half more, I'd say. How do you feel that performance, and why was that?
I think Chilwell and James were able to have such advanced positions when Chelsea did actually manage to dominate. And as you said, before Chukwuemeka came off, it was a lot of Chukwuemeka and James were actually playing so high up. And when James was pushing up, obviously he played on the right hand side, Chukwuemeka over that side. And as you said, a lot of Jackson's runs were towards the right hand side as well. So it's almost as if they were actually having overloads. Chilwell did obviously have a good game, I think, as well. But that right hand side where they were playing there it just worked for them. It really did work. They did actually seem in control for a lot of the actual game.
What was your take on it, Doctor?
So we're trying. Like, I think if Klopp gets this version of the team right, I think it can be absolutely incredible. And I know it might feel like I'm always cussing Klopp. I'm always cussing him because he's doing things that he's not an expert in. But I still think as a coach, what he can deliver is magic. And it's almost like where he's trying to go back to that excellent counter-attacking team that we used to be, whilst also trying for us to be brilliant in possession as well. And I think it's just going to take a bit of time for us to perfect both of those. Like it's almost like when you've got a young child who's multilingual, and it's easy to teach them English, but if you teach them English and say French, it might take them harder to learn both. But then once they get both, obviously they've then got 2 languages. And I just think with the transitions, there were key moments where we just didn't get the last pass right. If it was the weight or the decision making. So that one where Mo hits the crossbar on his right foot, like I'm thinking, Cody, just lash it. You've got a great strike. This is your angle. You've played so much of your football coming from left to right. Lash the ball, and he's passed it to Mo. Mo then,
and it's a bad pass as well. Pass it behind him.
Exactly. The Jota one with Diaz. There was another one where Diaz has come through and the pass to Mo wasn't quite great. So if we were really refined in our transitions, then I think we could have easily been 3 up easily. So I just think, yeah, that's going to take a bit of time for the players to really perfect those attacking transitions. And then I just think equally then the possession based stuff also it's going to take a bit of time for the team to adapt to that and know just when to do that, because what was annoying me a little bit was that Mo was just starting way too high up, but it's almost like for us to get into the box he has to drop right, so we've got an outball for Kanate to then play that with so that Trent can come and field, and then it just felt that we were too direct where we needed to have control of the game. Players needed to drop deeper into the half spaces, link play, connect. And I just felt you could probably argue this is probably the most technical midfield we've ever played under Klopp. Like everyone in that midfield is very comfortable on the ball, very comfortable. So I couldn't understand why our spacing was so weird, why we were still trying to be so direct with it when we lost control. I just thought you can play ball here, lads. Like get it, play around them. But it was just too frantic. So I think as a team, we need to mature and work out when to be frantic, when to be controlled. And I also just think that Pochettino made some very, very shrewd tactical changes during the match that caused our shape a problem. And I just felt like we couldn't get into our shape enough.
Okay, Preds.
I think we started really well. And we was unlucky not to go 2 up. Mo was a fraction offside. Our goal, you can see what they've been working on in training. Our goal was really, really good. You know, to start with Trent, to go back to Ali, it goes into Szoboszlai. Szoboszlai first time sets up Mac 10. Mac 10 over. He sees the movement from Salah, for going from in to out. And at first, Colwell couldn't deal with Salah. The movement, he was a bit just all over the place, and because of the free, and then the run. And this is what I've been critical of Salah before in regard to his assists and his quality in regards to giving other people, setting other people up. And in all fairness, what a pass and what a run by Diaz.
Great ball.
And then we kept going, and if Salah held off his run for half a second, we would have been 2-0 up. Up until the time, and when they say goals change games and goals change teams' attitudes, and got to be disappointed with the goal that we conceded first. The one and only goal we conceded. Well, yeah, no, we conceded the second one, but it was offside. But their goal, their equaliser, really disappointing in how we conceded that. He was there by himself for about 30 seconds. That's a long time in football. He was in that same position. He didn't move, and then no one's picked him up, and no one's reacted to the second header that's gone in for the second phase of the play. So I'm really disappointed. And from that, Chelsea then got confidence. What's his name? Scored the left back.
Alex.
No,
the new
Excel.
No, the new player, yeah, but Chilwell scored the second one, didn't he? But which, by the way, was like they opened us up like a can of beans, by the way, can of sardines, by the way. And at that point, that's when we was defensively dysfunctional. We had this period when they scored the first goal where I'm thinking, oh my god, they could score at least another 2 or 3, another 2 goals before half time. Second half, yeah, we didn't start at all, and you can see the inexperience came through, especially when you got Gakpo in the midfield with 2 new players at the club. You saw that we were just very naive and inexperienced. We didn't retain the ball at times, but that's going to come. We've got to, like we said, like Doc said, we've got to be patient. We've got 2 new players. They're coming in. They're really good players. They've shown today. I mean, last Sunday, that they can fit into the Liverpool side. So yeah, it's just a case of being patient. It wasn't a great performance, but it was the first performance.
That's right. That's right. That's how I have to look. It's the first performance, first proper game. So you're still getting up to your match sharpness and whatever. It's going to be you're playing, like we said, Jota starting up front, Gakpo playing in midfield. it's gonna be a bit different. It's gonna be a bit different. So it's gonna take a bit of time to get used to.
Yeah.
What do you make, gentlemen, of Salah when he was substituted?
Is that frustration?
I'm asking you. No, don't answer my question with a question, bro.
I'm one of them. I'm one of them, right? I'm old school, and I don't want him to be happy to come off. Like, if he's doing that, I don't want him to do that. There's ways and means of doing it, and look, I'm no shrinking violet when I play football. But lucky enough, I didn't get subbed because I was in goal. But yeah, obviously, Klopp is not frightened of taking off one of the big hitters.
What do you mean?
He should, and
Why,
he shouldn't be.
Does he do that often?
Well,
Like, shock to everybody, bro.
Yeah, it was. Of course, it was a shock. It was a
exactly.
shock.
So I won't be rolling that out about he's not frightened, because there's enough times last season and that and even before where we're saying why is Salah still on the pitch?
Yeah, last season, I'd say since he came to the club.
This is one of the first times everyone was in shock, mouth was open. What? He's taking off Salah?
You know what? Once again,
but Salah weren't doing nothing in the. If you see,
I'm not disputing this. What I'm saying. I'm not saying
if you look at if you break
to do that.
Bro, yeah, but if you break down, yeah, but if you break down Salah's performance in the second half, Salah was non-existent, and and when he did have the ball, like other players, the quality wasn't there. Yeah. Now, I was surprised, but you know what? Klopp's a manager. That's why he's there. He's got to make those decisions, and he had to try and change it because the way we were struggling. We were struggling. True. You know what I mean? So he's got to make some changes. Now, if Salah's not happy with that, then he's not happy with it. So be it. And I think Klopp done exactly the right thing. Ignore him. Let him chuck his dummy out. Because what I want him to do now is when he starts the next game, I want him to start on fire. I want him to show, listen, you can't take me off no more. And that's the reaction I want. So I don't mind if he does that. I just want a great reaction next game against Bournemouth.
Doctor.
Yeah, tricky one. I think there's been numerous occasions over the years where I've been like, why is Salah still on the pitch, or why is Salah playing again? It almost feels like, obviously he has been unbelievably consistent, but there's been times where I felt actually, especially when like Shaqiri was in good form, I just felt like this guy shouldn't be starting right now. But obviously, like he was back then one of our main players, and obviously now he is the main player. So I think everyone was probably a bit surprised that Klopp pulled him off. I personally thought Klopp made a mistake, in my opinion. And although Salah wasn't in the game as much, I think that was more technical. I mean tactical. So if Klopp had been asking him to do certain things and Mo's still not doing it, then by all means take him off. But I thought when he did get the ball, he was still posing some kind of threat, and he clearly wasn't tired. I just think, like we needed Mo, like I was saying, to like drop deeper, link play, and try and gain some control. But I just felt that it was just two like red arrows running forward, and I guess Klopp made the change, and the changes help I guess the team to get a sense of control.
Okay, well, according to what you said here as well, Chris Rush agrees to say if you want to win the game, you keep Salah on, but I'm not against it that you have to take him off.
Yeah, we were. I think by the time Salah got substituted, I think that Chelsea were still in control of the game. So I'm not saying we locked up shop, but I think it was one of those, is just saying, look, let's walk away from this game with a draw. Because what did he? I think he brought on Harvey Elliott and Ben Doik came on. And then after those substitutions, that's also when Poch actually brought on their subs afterwards, probably about 4 or 5 minutes afterwards. And those substitutions weren't offensive substitutions from Poch either, you know. They were as if to say, okay, Liverpool's made these subs because we brought on Doik, we brought on Harvey Elliott, they brought on the other right back, and then they brought on their right back, and they brought on another player as well. But they weren't offensive subs. So I think it was like, you know what, cool. Chelsea's happy with the point. Liverpool's happy with the point. Just leave it be. But I agree with what Preds is saying as well. Klopp's a manager. We're playing Bournemouth next. Just outscore Solanke. That's all you have to do. And then we move on.
Ross says, I'm sick of our high line, to be honest. Been saying it for years. More chance of the Cows returning to their homes than us sorting out the high line. Says our high line is that bad that Gemma Collins could find space. This
Wow. Wow.
I tell you, this guy.
Wow. But he makes a good point though. Not quite on Gemma Collins, but the high line is an issue. It is.
No, it is true though. It is true. The high line is
Chris Welch.
But Chris, I tell you, mate. Seriously, it is his own show, man. I'm telling you.
That's a Gemma Collins.
Own comedy show, man.
I would never ever put those two things in one sentence.
I pay money.
Big impression in Gemma.
Oh, mate. Fair play.
He makes a good point. Though. It's very true. We've been saying that for ages, man, about this high line. It's killing us. It's killing us. But to be honest, if you want that press to work, you have sometimes, and you're going on the front foot, then you have to congest stuff. So you have to have the high line. There's no way you can be looking to press, have your front three pressing up in their box here, and your back four way back in it. It's not going to work. It's not going to work.
No.
So if that's the way we're going to play, we have to get used to that. And the only good thing I've got to say with that is that at least Konate's got a bit of pace about him in the middle.
And because I think, although I'd say I feel like we were defensively dysfunctional, I felt our individual defenders played very well. I thought Konate was very strong. I thought Van Dijk, I was just like, my guy's back. Thank God he's back. Robbo was struggling, that's a slightly different issue. But I just think, the team need to know how to block off the angles, how to block off those big switches, how to settle back in defensive transitions, who needs to be in what position to link play, but to then stop the counters. I think the team just need to know how to play it. But I think we've got the players with the energy and the tactical ability to press. I do see that improving, definitely. So I'm not too worried about it at all. And then, once we get these sixes into the team as well, then McAllister will be higher up. He's excellent at pressing. So that will take shape at some point in time, personally.
Fitzroy says that Chelsea always had spaces on both flanks.
Yeah, that's the point I was mentioning earlier.
But they would do, because if you think about it, they played a 3-4-3, where we played a 4-3-3, but then we played a 3-4-3.
Yeah, because Trent was in midfield.
Yeah, so he goes in midfield. So whenever Trent went in midfield, their outball was one of the flanks, and that's why they were so dominant in the second half, because James and Chilwell were either Chilwell's making good runs from out to in, and then you got Reece James on the right hand side who's just delivering it on the sixpence. So I mean they were a problem, and I think until who did Salah who come on for Salah? Was it
Harvey Elliott?
Harvey Elliott. When Harvey Elliott and Ben Doik came on, you could then we then had legs in effect, where we were now turning them and we were now going back. And then in the end, you see Chilwell had to come off because he gives so much going forward. When Ben Doik came on, he had to make that change because and Ben Doik is quick.
Yeah.
He's rapid.
So he's rapid. So I think when we took Salah off, I think we actually responded better when we did make those substitutions, and Chelsea didn't respond as well as we did when they made their substitutions. And
I think Curtis was key in that as well. In that, I think
he was,
because if you notice what Curtis was doing, he almost went into that left half space where Sterling and Chukwuemeka were really dominating that space. Yeah, and I felt the moment we occupied that space, they then couldn't dominate it and then get those big switches that they were doing from Reece James to Chilwell, because then they then had to respond to what we were doing. And I guess it probably just felt that we didn't cause them enough problems. They were just almost we were just permanently just in a sense of like fight or flight, in a sense of like we couldn't impose our game on them, and we were just reacting to what they were doing to us. But I think once Curtis came on, we then began to stifle them and then get a bit of control in there. But
Yeah.
complex.
Darwin Nunez's run made my mind up that he shouldn't have started. Because when you got the ball and you're a young man like that, and you're trying to outrun a blood clot 37-year-old, and you can't run him off. Yeah, you don't deserve to start, bruv.
Mm.
I'm telling you, like Thiago Silva, good defender. Give him all his props. But let's keep it real. He's 37 years old, whatever he is. Darwin Nunez,
He might be
23
older
years
than
old.
that.
Yeah, he might be older. And you're telling me that Darwin Nunez couldn't, it was just a straight sprint. Darwin Nunez didn't stop and then go again, or chuck a little something to make him unbalanced. He kept running, and Thiago Silva just kept up with him and knew what he was doing all along, and then he took it off. And that's the moment I thought Darwin's not ready yet.
Damn.
Yeah, I'm not a massive Darwin fan. I'll be honest with you. He's a work in progress, man. He's a work in progress. He's a work in progress,
I'll
but
give
you
him
can see
that.
the potential and what he
Of
can
course.
become. But you're right, Fred. Like there isn't that just game smarts of stop start. It's just go 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 go. And interestingly, when he comes on the pitch, often our attack as a unit, the quality of that falls
Breaks
apart a
down.
little bit. And yeah, breaks down. That's the term. And interestingly, once Darwin comes on, you then see things like our touches into the box or our shots go down as a team because it's almost like he just plays the game himself. He can't quite understand where he's meant to be, like in relation to the other players. He just goes and just does his thing. But anyway, that's a Klopp sign. You see, this is what happens when you give Klopp big money to spend. He signs players who can't speak the language, can't press, and then like a year later, you're then saying second season when he learns to speak Spanish. I mean English, or you think to yourself,
I just don't
English
want
isn't the
to.
reason why he don't know what to do. He's just brain dead. But anyway,
So, do you think we should sign left-footed centre back if we're going to stick with this system? As I feel Robertson doesn't work in a back three, and a lot of 2-on-1s against him. Another reason why Gakpo in mid doesn't work as well. Basically, Gakpo's not backing him up.
Well, when we were linked with so many players we were linked with.
Okay.
Wasn't it Mickey van der Ven from Wolfsburg? I mean, he ended up going Spurs, didn't he? But he was the left-sided centre back who was rapid, and we had been linked with him. So, but as I said, look, we've been linked with everybody at the moment. So
you probably offered 50p short.
Yes, you know, we probably only offered 50p to buy him. You mean?
Yeah, probably. If I had to save on 50p, you know what I mean? It's terrible. It's actually terrible to think when I really think about it. It's actually terrible. So, gentlemen, marks out of 10 for this team performance.
God.
All right.
Do you know what? Okay. My rationale is my rationale for this game is usually a draw at the Bridge or when Chelsea come and play us at Anfield. So first game of the season, work in progress. We were playing with three new central midfielders. Still making adjustments to the new tactics. Still probably making adjustments without having Fabinho and Henderson in there. So I would say I'd be happy with a 7 for this performance.
Okay, Doctor?
yeah, it's a tricky one, man. But you raised some good points. This would have been like the first time that midfield would have played together, I'm sure, and hopefully they won't play together again. If we get in the reinforcements, I think there is a lot of context in regarding why why we struggled so much. I'm gonna give it quite low though. I think I'm gonna say about either a 3 or a 4. And why I say that is just because that level of ball possession, something like the fourth lowest we've ever had under Klopp. Like, you don't play a box midfield to surrender possession. So I just felt that the team couldn't execute the tactics as they wanted to. And I think why I'm also giving it so low is a team performance, because I think there were a number of individual strong performances. As I said, I thought the centre backs were brilliant. I thought the midfielders, Szoboszlai, Mac 10 were great. Salah, I thought was very strong in times. So I feel like in many ways the individuals are almost better than the actual team performance. So yeah, I'm gonna give that a 4, I think.
Wow. Okay. Preds.
I'm going to go for a good old solid 6.
Well, same as Fitzwarren. Fitzwarren said a 6.
Yeah, I'd say 6 because it's
Chris
work
said
in
a 5.
progress. Yeah. Oh, I think it's like 5 or 6. Yeah, because we're a work in progress. It's the first game of the season. We started really, really well. There was moments. Look, we've got to remember that Liverpool won't dominate football games for 90 minutes. The other team are going to have a period of time when they're going to have pressure on us. It's just how we deal with it. That's the issue. And even though Chelsea did have a lot of possession in the second half, notably, the only worry we had in the second half was when Ali saved it from Chilwell, I think it was, on the
Yeah.
left-hand side. So, and then we changed that and we managed the game a little bit better. So for that, I think there's progress to be made. 6. I'll give Ali a 9 though.
Peter loves the keeper, boy, I tell ya. Yeah. Okay. So before we go, we quickly have a chat about upcoming game against Bournemouth. What changes after seeing this game and how they play? What changes would you make for the game coming up against Bournemouth? Are you gonna, like I'm saying, basically, are you gonna stick with the same what you said you would have liked to have seen start this game, or because we're playing Bournemouth now, would you say, right, I would like to see these players in the team?
I think for me, it's just probably tweaking it. So I think in terms of personnel, Curtis comes into the midfield with McAllister and Dominic. Even if we were to sign somebody tomorrow, they're not going to play before the Bournemouth game anyway. So I'd like to see Curtis Jones come in the middle with with the 2 players that I mentioned, and instead of Jota, Gakpo plays centrally. Those are for me. Those are the only 2 changes.
So I saw that Curtis has got a knock. I don't know if he's going to be missing the game now. But yeah, I think if Curtis is fit, then Curtis has to start. Depending on if the Endo deal goes through, I might be tempted to. I definitely would put him on the bench. But yeah, if Curtis is out, then it would have to be the same midfield again. Bournemouth, we owe them, right? They did us at their ground last season, didn't they? Like, after we beat Man U, when we was hoping that we were gonna kick on.
Yeah.
Up top,
Scrappy
I
game.
might be tempted to play Darwin, because I think we should have enough possession. We should be able to really get into the shape and let Trent come into the midfield. So I just think, like where we should dominate the ball so much, then I might just play Darwin with the idea of him just try and get on, just try and score a goal in that. Yeah.
So Darwin in place of Jota, yeah?
Yeah.
And Jones in place of Gakpo.
Yeah.
If Jones is fit, but if he's not, then I think Gakpo then start again. So so it could just be one change would be Darwin in for Jota.
And I think in that we'll probably be right, because they Bournemouth played against West Ham. I think their last game was. I think it was
1-1.
They played Christie. So last season, they were playing Billings higher up behind Solanke, weren't they? Just behind the 1. They played Billings deeper this time as the 2 in front of the defenders, with Christie behind Solanke. So it'll be interesting to see where Billings actually plays against us. Is he going to be up there trying to be up against
Causes problems?
Yeah, definitely. But as
Good
you said,
player, man.
if you think of it eerily, if we play Curtis Jones and McAllister, he's much more eerily higher than Dominic, isn't it? So that will be interesting to see how they play. So it's about the matchups, really. For me, we're still going to get the result anyway. It's going to be interesting to see where the new manager plays Billings. Is he going to play deeper or higher up? That'll be interesting.
Okay. Freds?
I think it's already been said. I think the only changes would be the ones that have been mentioned. But I would definitely put Gakpo. I at the moment, for me, Jota, for me, is a bit like he's a bit sometime-ish at the moment. I think Gakpo at the moment, he links quite well. He comes deep. He can go in behind at the moment. So if Curtis Jones is fit, then yeah, he replaces him in midfield, and Gakpo replaces Jota. But other than that, I wouldn't see any other changes unless it's injury.
We talking like we got bare changes to make to Barnsley. That's the freaking thing. We ain't even got bare changes to make.
And incidentally, I'm watching the 7. What was it? Did we beat them 7-0? 9-0. So yeah, I've got another two. I'm watching that now. I'm watching that, and I'm so we've got another two goals to go. But yeah, we do owe them a little something. But I think that they're in a little bit of transition at the moment because they've got a new manager as well. With a few players. They're trying to get a few players through the door as well. To be fair,
they got Clivert. They bought Clivert.
Yeah, and ain't they part owned by what's the actor's name? Oh God, it'll come to me. It'll come to me when we finish. But I mean, they're a good, nice little club. But when they're coming to Anfield, right? They're coming to Anfield.
Hold your licks and go home, man.
Yeah.
Take
your licks and go home. So Chris Wells says Jones has an ankle issue and it's a doubt. Fitzwarren says Jones on the left, Gakpo in the Bobby role. We should be beating Bournemouth comfortably no matter what the lineup is. Obviously not another 9-0 like last season, but I expect to dominate, win. Okay, so gentlemen, scores before we go. Scores on the doors.
I'll go first because I always get it wrong anyway. I'm going for a 4-1.
Okay.
Liverpool.
Not bad. I don't think that's a bad shout. I honestly don't think that's a bad shout.
Yeah, but we have to clarify with Stoner. You know what I mean? You never know.
That's not a bad shout.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna go 3-0.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll go 3-0.
Preds, take your eyes off the TV, Preds.
I'm going to say 3-1 because I think we're still acceptable to letting in the goal. We're not quite right defensively as a team. And at the moment, we do like giving teams a little bit of enjoyment. So, yeah, 3-1, though. I'm confident we'll win 3-1.
Okay. Chris says 5-0. VW says it'll take a 1-0. And Fitzwarren says 2-1. Yeah, I feel that 3-1 is on the cards, man. 3-4-1 is on the cards. I definitely see us. I think as usual, I think we're back to that. We're going to score goals, man. Teams going to score goals.
I mean, we've got to be hopeful. We look at the front six. You know, they're
It's
all.
what I'm saying.
You know, they're all a bit rough. You know, need a bit of polishing up and everything. But we know that Klopp is a manager who's got his his coaching staff who are able to develop players and you know fine tune them. So I think if we can get a nice result against Bournemouth and get a little bit of momentum, you know, confidence plays a huge part of it. And when you got that confidence, you know, we've got 6 very exciting forward players.
Yep. So just before we go, gentlemen, I just want to say, a great bit of news for my family once again. Big shouts out to my little cousin, Caden Harrick, who just signed his professional contract with QPR. So hopefully we'll be seeing him in the first team real soon out there. Trust me. Some more free tickets.
Amazing, man. Amazing.
Yeah, man. Well, he's been down at QPR for quite some time now. Yeah, they've been very good to him. Yeah, they've always liked him and said, yeah, keeping him on. So he's what, 19 now?
Okay.
So yeah, signed his pro
Fair
deal.
play.
So plays
I'll
at
go-
the back, right back, centre half. Look out for him. Remember the name, Caden Harrock, yeah?
So what you're saying is that I should go down to William Hill tomorrow morning and put a little fiver on him, or Lady Godiva to be England. England.
No, he plays for Grenada already.
Oh,
He's
mate.
got about 6 or 7 caps already for Grenada.
Brilliant.
Yeah, to be
Okay.
fair, my mate's just taken over was it the head of sports science and stuff over there, Wayne Andrews.
Okay.
Yeah, Wayne Andrews is just I think he's gone over there now. I used to play football with him, and yeah, he's got something like that in regards to fitness with the Grenadian national team. So
Okay.
I'm sure that they know each other.
Brilliant.
Sure they do. So yeah, look out for him, man. Look out for him.
Small world out here, isn't it?
I'll tell ya. Yeah.
Mm.
Okay, people, do remember, hit that like, that share, and subscribe, and we will be back next week, giving you the updates on what happened with Bournemouth and if some good news in the transfer activity room. Yeah, that's what we're looking for. Some good news. I'll be happy when we get 2 more players in. 2 more.
It will happen. It will happen. It will happen, man.
More, man. Yeah, man. I've got faith, man. I've got faith.
Yeah, we don't want no out though. We want some end though.
Yeah.